Ready. Thank you again, Adam, for having me. It's fun to make this happen.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You know, you've been the most requested pageant girl since last month. Adam, you gotta interview Kim. You gotta get her your hand. You gotta interview her very soon. We just couldn't get enough of her. So okay, I'll try my best. I'll try to see how I can get to her. But finally, thank you for replying back to my
Of course,
direct
you made it
message
work.
on. Yeah, so Kim, first of all, before we start, thank you for granting this interview request. You don't know how you're making me so much happy, considering that you almost won. We really cheered, rooted for you to win Miss USA 3 weeks
Thank
ago.
you. It means a lot that I didn't realize until the springtime that I had so many fans in the Philippines and so many Filipinos across the world were cheering for me. And that really inspired me in a lot of ways during quarantine. I was like, you know what? I'm not just doing this for myself, my family in Idaho, but I have my whole other country over there cheering for me too. And that was really, really cool to know.
You know, us here in the Philippines, we're very social media savvy people. So anything that we find out, that anything Filipino we find out on the pageant system, we broadcast it right away and claim it. We claim you guys as our own right away.
I'm good with it. It was really meant a lot to me in quarantine. Like when I had hard days, I would look in my inbox and I would have messages from Filipinos, and they would be like, "You've got this! Like we're cheering for you!" And that made my days so many times.
Uh-huh.
So thank you guys.
Yes. Yeah, you're welcome. We just couldn't get enough of you during your turn in Miss USA. So, Kim, as my first question, how has it been like since almost winning Miss USA? Has it sunk in now, for sure?
You know, it definitely sank in that I didn't win. I'm surprised by how busy I've been since Miss USA happened. I thought it was all going to calm down, but I've had interview after interview. I'm working with my director, who's transitioned to be my manager, on the next steps in my career and what to do since Miss USA happened. So really, I've been just incredibly busy and very grateful for all the opportunities that are coming. And I'm just really happy that I could make it that far on the Miss USA stage.
You know what makes us also happy is that, let's face it, the Miss USA pageant system has been very unpredictable for the past few years. But then you place so high in the pageant. So did you kind of expect that you would place so high?
I didn't go into Miss USA expecting anything because, like what you said, you just never know what's going to happen. And my outlook is, and always is, like, I'm going to compete. I'm going to do the best that I can and just show them who I am. And if they like me, they like me. And if they don't, that's okay. At least I showed them who I am. And so just making it that far is really cool because, like, I went in there like, this is me, and they liked me. And that's such a better feeling than going up there and being someone you're not.
Yes, right. So, yeah, I think that's a great mindset that, you just come in there with no expectations and really have a good time, right?
I mean, I tried, I tried. Like, I wanted to win. I wanted to do the best that I could, but you can't. I think it's dangerous to go in thinking I'm already Miss USA because you risk being crushed if you don't win.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to
Yes.
be willing to accept whatever the result is.
Yes, true. So, one of the things that we love about you is that you're very proud of your Filipino heritage. I mean, from how they talk about you, I mean, from your video package profiles, from the way you talk about it, it seems you're very proud of it. So, how Filipino are you? Like, what Filipino traits do you have? Do you have a lot of fondness for our Filipino dishes?
Yeah. So how Filipino am I? I mean, I like to think that I bring cheer and a good time to every situation, which I think every Filipino does. They walk into a room and they're like, who's hungry? It's a party. Where's the karaoke? And I am all, that is me right there. I can be, like, if it's between me and Asia, like Asia has a very calm, quiet elegance and grace. And I would say I'm a loud person. And I think that's kind of Filipino. A little loud sometimes. But I make excellent food. I try to learn. Okay, so in college, I took Tagalog because I've always wanted to learn Tagalog, and my mom just never really spoke it at home. And I would mix up Visayan and Tagalog so much that my professor just was like, Kim, you don't make any sense. And I was like, you know what? Oh, well. And she was like, but your accent is good. And I'm like, there we go. Like, Filipino, I got a good accent. I just can't speak. But I make great food. I think my personality and character is what really embodies my Filipino heritage, though.
I'm curious to ask, is there a huge Filipino community there in Idaho?
Idaho has a smaller Filipino community. It's nothing like Seattle or the bigger cities like San Francisco, New York, or Portland. So you can know anybody who's Filipino by just talking to your mom and being like, do you know so-and-so? And they'll be like, oh, yeah, we know their mom. So it's small enough that we all know each other in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the... Yeah, you know what? You really embody the Filipino spirit, and I like the fact that you try your best to speak Filipino in some of your interviews and even in your video package for Miss USA. So, have they? Was it a requirement for you guys to speak Filipino, or was there a conscious effort for you to speak Filipino while growing up there in the States? So at least you could be at least in touch with your culture.
Yeah, so my mom, I grew up listening to her speaking all the time. She didn't necessarily teach me Tagalog growing up, and there was this idea when I was a child, and I think a lot of half-Filipinos and Filipino-American children would relate to me when I say this, but a lot of our parents were afraid that we would be discriminated against if we had an accent or if we spoke Tagalog, and so a lot of our parents, at least in my generation, didn't speak Tagalog or whatever their dialect is to us. So a lot of us are actively trying to learn because we want that part of our heritage. Like, I'm a dual citizen and I want to be fluent. And so if anyone wants to tutor me, please, I'll take a tutor.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Actually, for sure, if you come over here soon, hopefully you'll be more conversant with the language.
When I'm around a lot of other Filipinos, it comes back, but being here where not very many other people speak, it just what I was trying to say is when I'm around other Filipinos, my speaking skills come back. But being where I am in Idaho and there's not too many people who speak Tagalog, it's hard to keep up on it. So it is something I'm working on.
Yeah. As I've said, for sure, once you once you decide to come here and stay longer and relocate, perhaps you might finally be conversant with the language.
That is the hope. That is one of my top 3 goals for this next year is learn Tagalog, actually be able to speak it, because it's embarrassing to have my mom translating for me.
Right. Before we continue, there's a question. There's a comment here from our viewer. His name is her name is Abish. Hi, Abish. Abish Mercado is saying you kind of look like Lea Salonga.
Oh, okay. She's beautiful. Yeah. Thank you so much. I wish I had a voice like her.
Yeah, your speaking voice. Yeah, there's some angles that you'll kind of look like her, compared to when you put your face side by side with a younger Lea Salonga. Yeah. So, and then Fonzie is my prod tech guy saying you're very pretty, Kim.
Thank you, Fonzie. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So another interesting fact that apart from being Filipino, another interesting fact that we know about you is that you have such great scholastic achievements as you pursue your dream of becoming a successful veterinarian. You're also very passionate with your love for the animals. So can you tell us how did you develop for your love for the animals?
Well, I grew up on farms, or not on farms, but right next to farms. And it was just kind of natural. We had dogs, cats, birds, hamsters, fish, reptiles in my house when I was a kid. But I wanted to be a doctor, and a human doctor, not an animal doctor. But my dad has a lot of medical problems, and I grew up going to special research hospitals for him. And it made me really sad. Like, it's hard for me to imagine telling somebody that their family member is going to die. And I just kind of gravitated towards veterinary medicine because I love working with people and animals, and that profession allowed me to combine both of those.
Wow, so it all stemmed from your childhood. So I'm curious to ask, so pretty sure your house is like a one big ranch where all these animals are surrounding your household.
Not quite, but maybe someday. That is my hope. I'm going to have a farm with all my animals on it.
So from being a farm girl, how did you end up competing in Miss USA?
That is a really good question. In America, unlike the Philippines, we don't have as strong of a culture when it comes to pageantry.
Yes.
So for me to end up in it was really the result of me being dragged by my friends when I was a teenager. My friends were like, "You're going to like it. It's going to be fun. Just try it out." And so when I told my parents, my dad was kind of like, "Okay, sure." And my mom was secretly really excited because she did some pageants. My Lola did some pageants. And so once I tried it out when I was a teenager, I realized what it was about. And it took me a while. I completed college before I decided to compete again for Miss Idaho USA. But if I didn't have those friends who would encourage me, I don't think I would have tried, because it's not something that you immediately think of in the US as an opportunity or something to do.
I'm curious to ask, which friends are these? Are they Filipino?
They're not, but she is a mix, not Filipino. I want to say she's half Hispanic. And so she encouraged me, but my director, Maureen Francisco, is half Filipino. So I was really, it was encouraging to me when I went as a teenager and saw other Asian Americans who were a part of the pageant system in Idaho, and they helped me feel more comfortable. And it's really cool to see my director as half Filipino, as a director in the US, who's successful in pageantry as well. And it's probably part of the reason I came back, because I love them so much. So we'll give them a little shout out. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you, David.
I knew there was something in there. It had some problem. At some point in time, it would still boil down about being part of our culture, about beauty pageants, that we take it so seriously as part of our culture, right? So yeah, so thank God that you have such, a great supportive system to back you up with your dreams. Right.
I do have an excellent support system. And my Lola, she was pregnant the entire time at Miss USA. I think she almost had a heart attack, actually.
Oh my God. I hope.
Yeah.
For sure, I could imagine. Yeah. So, you mentioned it yourself. Asian Americans. Prior to you almost winning Miss USA, Miss Hawaii had won Miss Teen USA days earlier. So, this is such a huge feat in the Filipino community there in the US, for sure. Filipino teenager, a teenager with Filipino descent winning Miss Teen USA, and then you almost winning Miss USA. So, I would like to ask, do you think more Filipinas will follow your footsteps from now on? Do you think Asian Americans will now be more represented? in
I mean,
Miss USA?
I would hope so because there's plenty of beautiful, talented Filipino American young women here. But again, in the US, pageantry is just not as big. But my hope is that if they see girls like Kilani and I up there competing, especially women who are very career driven, I hope that they would look at me and say, you know what, okay, there's a girl who wants to be a doctor and she is embracing her Filipino culture as well, and she's competing in pageants. You know what, I can see myself doing that as well. So I hope that just as long as we keep putting ourselves up there, more women will be encouraged to compete.
Yes.
I hope so. And that's one of my goals is that's why I talk, part of the reason I talk a lot about, you know, I'm half Filipino, I have dual citizenship because I want other girls to look at me and be like, okay, she's doing it. Like, maybe I'll try that out. And it's about just trying it because, again, we're not pushed into it as much as maybe we would be in the Philippines. And we don't see ourselves represented in Hollywood or on a pageant stage. And so if one of my goals is like, the more I put myself out there and talk about being successful in science, being somebody in fashion, entertainment, and beauty pageants, more girls, please put yourself out there because it's so important that we have representation for ethnic, multicultural women in media.
You know, I love that. I love what you said. You said, you know, I love the intersectionality of you being a science girl, and you as you incorporate that for your love for fashion. So I would like to ask, do you think competing nowadays for a pageant like Miss USA would require women, accomplished women like you, so that they will succeed better or perform better?
See, I've been asked this a few times, and I thought about it, and I don't think that being a lawyer like Chesley or almost being a doctor like myself is the formula for success. I think we are just a little bit older, and we've had some more life experiences, and that translates as confidence on stage. But I think somebody who's 20, who's super confident, knows who she is, and is ready to take the world by storm could easily win Miss USA. It's just, I think it's really just a difference of like maturity and life experiences.
That's interesting. So you're telling me there's no surefire formula to win Miss USA or Miss Universe at this time?
If there's a formula, I don't know it. like you said earlier, it's so unpredictable. You don't know. You just have to be the best version of yourself. And if it's you, it's you. And if it's not your time, it's another woman's time. But there's always like, I believe that if you look back on how everything happened, you understand the steps and you're like, oh, it all makes sense. So I think in 5-10 years, I'm going to look back and be like, oh, there's a reason I didn't win Miss USA. And it makes sense now. But I don't know what the formula is to win Miss USA. And if there is one, that'd be cool. I'd like to learn it.
All right, fair enough. So, okay, if you don't know the surefire formula for winning Miss USA, but would you say, can you tell to me if there was a moment during Miss USA that you thought you really had a shot in winning Miss USA? Like, okay, I think I just might win this and take this off. Because, you know, I've been interviewing a lot of formers and former beauty queens, and they would always say this one moment that would somehow define their whole experience. Like, okay, I think it was all about this. But for you, was there a single moment while you were competing in Miss USA that you thought, okay, I think I just might have a shot in winning this whole thing?
Fun fact, when I competed in prelims in swims in my swimsuit, I thought I did absolutely terrible. I texted my director and I was like, I think I messed it up. She's like, no, Kim, you were great. And I was like, okay. But I was really nervous. I didn't think I had done well. For me, it was coming out in an evening gown. And I think I heard the room kind of go quiet, and then people were like, "Oh!" and they like freaked out. And I think they might have been freaking out over my evening gown dress choice. But when I heard that, and as soon as I looked at the camera with my gown on, I was like, I think I have a shot. So that for me, if there was a moment, that was the moment.
So that was during the prelims. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's talk about it. Look at that gown, electric blue gown. It's very Tom Ford, very Tom Ford for Gucci, a fashion moment for you. So I would like to ask, was it a tactic? Why did you choose this kind of dress for your evening gown presentation? Was it a tactic that surprised? Was there a game plan for this? Like, because you really stood out because of this color look.
Yeah, there was no game plan. There was no like, oh, if I wear this, I'm gonna surprise everybody. When I went into the Sherry Hill showroom, because we all have to wear Sherry Hill, and I told the girls, I was like, you know what? I want to wear a high neck, and I love sleeves. And if you have a dress like that, I would love to try it on. And the girl, this is the first dress that they gave me. And they're like, what about this? And I just knew that was my dress immediately before I'd put it on. And I have some coaches they were like, Kim, are you sure that's what you want to wear to Miss USA? Like, it's not very Miss USA-y. And I was like, I'm wearing this because this is the dress that represents me. It's modern. It's like a little bit sexy, but not too much. It's elegant, but also edgy. And I was like, this is the dress I'm going to wear. I don't care if anyone else likes it. So I'm really happy that everyone else liked it.
Yes, because you know why? You know why I asked this question? Because before your prelims moment, we had been seeing you wear a lot of one-shoulder Sherry Hill dresses while wearing your hair down. So consider us all surprised when we saw you in your high ponytail wearing that dress. Like, whoa, she's having a moment here.
Yeah, so I will say that was a little bit of a plan. I modeled for Sherry Hill a bit this past year, and those dresses were a part of the modeling work that I did for her. And I didn't pick the dresses, though. They sent them to me. So they just happened to be one-shoulder dresses that I was wearing. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to wear a lot of red, make everybody think I'm going to wear a red gown. I'm going to put my hair down and let them all think that I'm going to come out with like long down, like pin straight hair. I'm going to see if I can trick them. So that was, I was trying to trick you guys a little bit.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you had so much fun, picking out your dress for Miss USA. Yeah. Because, I also watch a lot of vlogs on YouTube, and I came across with Danny Walker's recap on Miss USA, and she revealed that you went up to her at one point in time to consult if you just made the right decision in choosing out that electric blue Sherry Hill dress for the finals.
I didn't have any doubt about my dress. I knew that was the dress for me. I wasn't sure how to wear my hair though for a little bit. I knew that I had to have it away from my face because the neck is so high that if my hair was down and in my face would like disappear. And I was talking with her about that, and she was like, put your hair up. What does that look like? And so like I was messing with my hair, and we were in the same room together. This was probably in January or February. And I was like, what about here? What if I put my ponytail here, here? And she was like one of the first people that was like, a high pony with a high neck, like that might be the way to go. And so I was definitely encouraged when I heard Danny say that. So it did influence the final decision quite a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a more practical. What Danny advised you was very easy to do and very practical. Because if you guys are doing a live show and then you still have to do that, what do you call that kind of bun? This, that. I think it might be hard to execute instead of just doing a quick ponytail do. So
we only have like 3.5 minutes between to change. And so my gown, like I need a lot of help to put that gown on because it's really tight on my neck. It has zippers on my arms, on my back. And I can't, once the dress is on, I can't lift my arms like all the way over my head because it's so heavy. So I only had 3.5 minutes to put this dress on, to throw my hair in a ponytail, to change my earrings, change my shoes. And it was like a chaotic moment where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make this work, but it all came together.
That's good. You know, it's so nice that, you know, you share all these things to me because I've always thought that coming into Miss USA, you already thought of yourself as a heavy favorite for the title because you've been figuring in a lot of leaderboards, pageant leaderboards on social media. So, prior to arriving in Tennessee for Miss USA, didn't you somehow felt confident that didn't you somehow feel confident like I think you know I think I will really have a good shot on this because I've been figuring in everyone's lists.
You know, I didn't go into Miss USA thinking I have a good shot because a lot of people like me. I was honored that people thought I would do well. But a lot of the times what people have as their top don't mean anything, or like it doesn't translate into reality. So it meant a lot to me that people were supporting me. But again, you just never know at Miss USA what's going to happen. So it meant I knew that I had a good shot because I've been working at this for a year. I took time off from school to prepare for Miss USA. I had been working with coaches multiple times a week, whether that was interview, walking, getting makeup lessons. And so I knew I was putting in the work, and that's why I thought I had a good chance.
All right. That's interesting because, you know, you said it yourself, you know, you were trying to balance this whole thing out, your studies and your competition for Miss USA. So there's a question here from Alex Musitsa. How do you balance your academic endeavors at the same time preparing for Miss USA?
So I took a different route. I took a gap year. My graduate program for veterinary medicine at Washington State, they were very supportive of me. And they said, you know what, go ahead and take a gap year so you don't have to worry about veterinary school, and then come back next year. And if you win Miss USA, we'll let you take another gap year. And I'm lucky because a lot of girls don't have a graduate program that is that supportive of them. So my administrator said, you know, give it your best shot. And so I didn't have to worry about veterinary school. I was working on my master's degree though, because I'm doing a separate master's degree in public health. And honestly, it was easy with quarantine because most of the other appearances I would have had with Miss Idaho USA were canceled. So I just focused on getting some classes done for my master's, working with my coaches, and I made it a job. Yeah, so I made that my full-time job, I guess. You have to view if you want to do well at Miss USA, I think you have to look at it as if you're getting ready for a job. You don't just walk in there unprepared. But it's definitely a challenge for some girls who can't take time off from their programs.
Yeah. So how must have it been difficult for you to prepare for Miss USA at such time right now where there's a pandemic?
This hallway back here,
yes,
like it's a long hallway. It goes all the way back here, and it goes all the way up in my kitchen. And I was doing walking lessons in my house with a Zoom camera at one end of the hallway. And walking down your hallway, getting ready for Miss USA, that is not the same thing as walking on stage.
Yes.
So that was difficult. I did hair and makeup lessons via Zoom, and that was also difficult because what you can see on the camera is not exactly what you see in person. And I think one of the really hard things for me is like in Idaho, we don't have a lot of stores. We don't have a lot of we don't have the stores that you have in New York or California.
Except for beauty stores, yeah.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of online shopping, and it was very difficult because I didn't even know where to go shopping. All the stores I would normally go to were like not open. I had to learn like Akira is a great place to go shopping. Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, like these are stores that a lot of the pageant girls were online shopping at during the quarantine period.
Yeah, so in a way you were able to cope or adjusted with the situation. Because I understand. Yeah. Because I understand it was only around May. I read an article from a US magazine that it was only May that when Miss USA revealed to you guys that there would be an actual pageant happening this coming fall. So right, so
I'm not sure I don't remember exactly when they told us we were going to have one. But I do remember like June and July and being like, when is this thing going to happen? So I don't think we had dates, if I remember correctly, even in June and July.
So when they emailed you that, okay, you need to have these photo shoots, I mean these photos that you need to send to us to be uploaded for our website. So did it make you excited? Oh, it's finally happening despite the lockdown we're experiencing. Like it's finally pushing through.
Crossing my fingers. I was like, I think they're going to pull it off. But I don't know if you guys have the same saying in the Philippines. Like I like to say, I don't count my chickens until they hatch.
Yes.
Same. Okay. Exactly. So I just like I'm not going to get my hopes up too high because I don't want to be sad if it doesn't happen. But I was really hopeful when they were asking us for headshots that it was going to happen. But you just never know. That's like the slogan for 2020, COVID, you never know.
Is that the way you also handle criticism and flattery while competing in Miss USA? Because let's face it, you've been figuring in so many, in everyone's lists.
The way I handle criticism, I mean, if you're going to be in the public spotlight, if you put yourself on stage, if you're an influencer on social media, you have to be prepared for criticism. It doesn't matter if you're the best person in the world or the worst person. Everyone is going to have something negative to, not everyone, but somebody is going to have something negative to say. And you just have to be ready and prepared for that and realize that what somebody has to say who has never met you, who doesn't know you, their opinion doesn't really take away from who you are. So I handle criticism by just remembering, like, you know what, that's not who I am. I appreciate your opinion. I'm going to think about that and think about, should I pay any attention to that? Is that legitimate concern? But more than anything, like I like who I am. I love who I am, and you have to have thick skin. You have to let things roll off of you.
Did that kind of mindset help you in hiding the pressure that you were feeling during the competition? I mean, I'm sure there was so much enormous pressure for you to perform well, considering your Filipino background. So, I'm curious to ask, how much pressure was on your shoulders to perform well, or are we just reading or assuming things for you?
There was pressure on my shoulders. I mean, pressure from myself and pressure from others. I like to joke that I would have been so sad and a little embarrassed if I hadn't gone to the top 16, because I really wanted to do it for Idaho, do that for my directors, for myself, and for the Philippines. I really, really wanted to represent all of my fans on the Miss USA stage. So I did put that pressure on myself, but a little bit of pressure is good. It motivates you to try hard and to keep going. Too much pressure is bad, and that's when you risk being anxious, depressed, and having negative consequences. But I do think a little bit of pressure is good for everybody.
You know, listening at you right now, it seems like your trainers prepared you well for the competition in, in handling pressure, criticism, what to do, what not. So, is it true that I heard that you had Filipino trainers for Miss USA? So would you share who are they and
Yeah,
how did they train you, considering there was, quarantine protocols?
I had several trainers. One of them was Filipino. That's Giselle Boone, and she worked with me on walking, and she sent me some articles of clothing, a little bit of styling work. I worked with her a lot over the year, and she would give me gowns to wear, she helped me do my makeup for like the first few photo shoots because I had no idea how to do my makeup for photos. I'm used to having a makeup artist do my makeup. So she helped me a lot in the beginning, and she's the one that I was practicing in this hallway with, and she's on
Oh,
Zoom, and I'm walking down this hallway, and I was just like, Giselle, this is so hard because this hallway is not a stage. And she was always motivated. She was always cheering for me. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. Um, but yeah, she was my one Filipino trainer that I worked with for the Miss USA pageant.
well, probably no. I want to know, why didn't you rehearse or practice your catwalk skills outside your house, like in the smooth pavement?
I live in an area that is very, very hilly.
Oh, okay, 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 got it.
Yeah, and during the quarantine, it was when we didn't know much about COVID, right? And a lot of people were just scared to do anything outside of their home. Like I would go on jogs on the road, but I live in a hilly neighborhood, and it's hills are worse than hallways for practicing your walk.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I see. Okay, I get it now. So let's